Hi, welcome to part 2 in the two-part video series on 2 money-making mistakes that content creators make that you're going to want to avoid. If you didn't watch part 1, where I talked about the importance of separating your creator self from your personal self by forming an LLC, I want you to go ahead and check that video out after you watch this. But if you already watched it, welcome back. In part 2, I'm talking about the importance of having a separate business banking account separate from your personal account as a content creator and treating your content creator life as a business. Now, again, like I mentioned in the last video, this illustration I'm going to be using of the jar scenario came from attorney Joy Lynn Hunt, who I discovered over on Instagram. She has close to 500,000 followers, so she knows what she's talking about. A lot of her audience members who she talked to are like lash technicians, hairstylists, mechanics, small operators. But I said, you know what, let me borrow her illustration for my audience, which is content creators, and I'm going to give you examples to share the importance of separating your account using something that you might be able to relate to. So if you're interested in that. So again, with the jar scenario, here we have the jar. In this jar has the proceeds from your last brand deal where you got $15,000. And so here's all the money in there. You put that into your personal bank account because you don't have a business bank account. Now you have expenses. Rent's due. Daycare expenses due. So you got that $15,000. You write a check to cover your rent, to cover your daycare expenses. You decide you want to update your website. You need photos, so you hire a photographer. You get a new fit. You book a spot, and you use some of that $15,000 to pay for that to update your website. Now the brand is sending you on a brand trip. However, you got to pay for your Uber there. You got to pay for your meals at the airport. There's some days when you're on your own. So good thing you got that $15,000 because you can use some of that money to pay for that. Sunday comes around, someone says, let's go to brunch. You're like, all right, bet, I'm with it. You get your face done, you get your hair done, you got a new outfit, you get your nails done. Why? You want to look good for your girls. So you use some of the money from that $15,000 to pay for your personal brunch outing with your girls. Now there's an industry event. You're invited to it. After the event, some of the brands decide, oh, let's go out for cocktails. You're going to have to pay for drinks. You might buy a round for everybody, but good thing you got that $15,000 from your last brand deal. So you're good and gravy. You can pay for that. Your kid gets sick. You got to take them to the doctor. There's a copay of $40, an emergency, but you got it because you got that $15,000. So you're good and gravy. Have to go on a road trip. But along the road trip, you decide, I'm going to do some work. I need to buy a laptop because I don't have a laptop. But I'm going to work while I'm on this road trip. So good thing you have $15,000. You can buy a road trip. So here's all the money that you spent, but it's mixed up in this personal bank account. Now, why is that a bad idea? So let me tell you 4 reasons. First reason is for taxes. Because a lot of these expenses, the brand trip, the photo shoot, the laptop are business expenses, the IRS, the United States, allow you to write off some of those expenses against your tax liability. That $15,000 isn't tax-free. The agency is going to say, we paid her $15,000. You're going to have to calculate some of that $15,000 and pay taxes on it. So you deduct some of the money you owe by showing your expenses. So how do you show your expenses? You have to itemize them separately. If you have some of the business expenses, and if this count, you put some of the money here, pay yourself a salary out of the $15,000, and then you use the money from the salary to pay for your personal expenses. And these are just for the photographer. This is for the Uber trip. You have a bank card, a business card that you use to pay for those business expenses in this account. It's easier for tax purposes. Also, if you're audited, God forbid, you have all that stuff listed out. It makes it easier for you to get that information. So that's the first reason. The second reason, let's say you decide and you want to get a business loan to front your venture related to your content creative business. If the business loan is going to ask for 3 months to 3 years of your business bank accounts, and you can't do that if you only have a personal bank account. It's kind of too little too late. So early as possible, put this in a business bank account so you can get a business loan. Third, like I mentioned in the last video about the importance of forming an LLC. In order for your LLC to be up and running, you may get an EIN, which is a federal tax ID number. Then you can actually have a separate business banking account related to your LLC, and that's part of keeping your LLC active and show that you really are running a separate business. It's not a DBA, which is doing business as, which is really just a personal thing, and you are separating your business from a personal, which is like legit. So that's the third reason. And the fourth and final reason is just because this is a business. So when you want to go from part-time to full-time, it's a good idea to know how much you're making versus your income versus your salary. So the income from the business, the revenue from the business is not how much money you have, because the business has expenses, remember. So it's all that separation and understanding what's your income. Let's say you have to apply for a car and they say, what's your income? You can't put the money that's coming in from the business, because remember, the business has expenses, but the business is paying you $10,000. That's your income. So understanding that in your head for purposes of filing other things is why it's important to keep them separate. Now, you might be asking yourself, like, aren't business bank accounts expensive? My own personal bank account is already expensive. There's all these fees. You mean I gotta manage two accounts? The thing about the era we're living in, there are a lot of online banks that do not charge any fees for overdraft, return checks. All these things aren't part of online banking. I personally use Bluevine. I'll put a link to my Bluevine where you can get it if you want to sign up for it. It's totally free. I'm not an affiliate, so just mention that. So that's one way you can do it. There are others out there, so research it. I mentioned bookkeeping. So you're going to want to have a bookkeeping system to separate your expenses. I like QuickBooks. Why? Because I can link my personal bank with my QuickBooks bank accounts, and when you get paid, you can pay yourself straight into account and make you get your money faster. Also with QuickBooks, you can itemize and have sub accounts for your different industries. So for example, your gym membership, because you have to look good, because part of your creator industry, part of your creator biz is creative a certain aesthetic. So your gym could be part of that. Your hair, your nails, your makeup, your outfit could actually be an itemization under that. Travel expenses, meals expenses, you can have subcategories out there and funnel money from the $15,000. You can allocate different amount of funding and put them in their sub accounts. And then with your business bank account, you can swipe from there and move things around, and it keeps it for you. And they also have someone on staff that will help walk you through it. So that's why I use QuickBooks. I'm going to put a link down to QuickBooks in case you want to sign up for that. And I think they charge something like $15, which is really nominal for a year, and it's not bad for all you get out of that. So it's a great deal. Now, when you're getting paid, instead of them having to pay your personal bank account, you can invoice the clients or invoice send it through Stripe or send it through Square. I'll put a link down to Stripe and Square, which I use as well. But there you go. That's why it's important to have a separate business account, because it's going to save you trouble in the long haul. It's part of going from a part-time creator to a full-time creator. And if you're already a full-time creator and you aren't doing this, go ahead and do this. Take this weekend to actually open up a Bluevine account, separate all your expenses, and you'll feel so much better about really running a legitimate business. You'll feel better about, in case you ever want to get a loan, in case you ever need to separate your things when tax time comes. Your bookkeeper, your accountant's going to be so happy that you've itemized them and you separated out, and it's going to save you a lot of time in the long haul. So I hope that's helpful for you. Again, if you haven't watched part 1 about the importance of creating LLC, go watch that video. It's a much shorter video. Now this is going to be a series. I have a couple of videos coming down the pike where I might just post these successfully to help you make sure you maintain your LLC and maintain your business on legit as a content creator. And again, thank you to attorney Joy Lynn Hunt for this illustration I gave you, and go follow her if you haven't followed her. All right, okay, talk to you soon. In the meantime, you go ahead and watch. I'm going to put all the business of law of content creator in the playlist if you're watching this on YouTube. So go watch that next.